All right, we're going to quickly discuss the brain and how that is structured and functions and what it means for a child to flip their lid. Again, if you've heard this, great. Follow along because this is going to be really helpful reminders as you prepare for our wonderful campers. So imagine that the brain is separated into two parts. I am generalizing a lot, obviously, but in the book, The Whole Brain Child, which is a great book, we have the brain broken up into the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain, okay? So when a baby is born, they are born with their downstairs, their reptilian brain, okay? So if you've ever seen a baby, right, they can't talk, they can cry, they can have their basic survival functions, but they don't have, processing, anything, advanced. So all of these things develop over time in a child's brain. So we have the downstairs brain and we have the upstairs brain. As a child develops, these connections between the downstairs brain and the newly developed upstairs brain all begin to wire, right? So as these experiences happen for a child, milestones like learning their first word, learning to talk, learning how to put a block correctly into the right shape. All of these developmental milestones are so important and they need to happen within that sequence. That is why if you were to take a child to the doctor's office, when they're 2, they're going to ask you all of these questions about what their development looks like because the doctor is trying to assess if their development is happening sequentially and appropriately. Because if something is missed, it's not just going to go away. It's something that we have to go back and fix and teach that child. Okay? So all of these connections are being made. If an experience was missed, that connection wasn't made. Okay? So that's something we need to be very, very mindful of. Within our downstairs brain, so all of the things that are happening around us all go through our downstairs brain, okay? So if you were to hear a loud boom, what would happen would be that sensory input would come to your thalamus, okay? So that is described as the cook. If you read The Body Keeps the Score, we have good visuals to help describe the thalamus as the cook. It's basically taking a stew and just throwing all the ingredients together. We don't really know what it is yet, but it's all in there, okay? So thalamus is going to take it and it's going to quickly decide, does this need to go to my low road, to the amygdala, which is responsible for our fight, flight, or freeze, essentially just a quick reaction. Do I need to survive this? Or can it process it and send it to the upstairs brain, where we can process it and absorb it and essentially take the time to be able to understand it and not have to just react to it. So if you've had an experience, say a loud bang was to happen, your brain is either going to send it to the high road or to the low road, depending on the experiences that you've had. Let's say a young child had an experience where there was a trauma associated, a fearful, helpless experience associated with that loud bang, their body, their brain is going to send it to that low road, send it to their amygdala to say, you need to survive this moment. So get ready, fight, flight, or freeze because something bad is about to happen. If that child is in an experience where they hear that loud bang, any loud bang, that will remind them of it, whether or not they're even in danger or in that experience, their brain remembers the past experience and is going to react the same way because that is how their brain has been trained to respond. Because again, we're all trying to survive. Every brain, every body is just trying to survive. And so this is what they have learned is we need to act and we need to act now. Cortisol is released and we get a lot of specific, like we said, fight, flight, or freeze. When we're at camp, we often will remember or even make comments about runners. You may end up having a camper in your cabin who just runs. That is their response to something scary or fearful, is to run. We also have kids that shut down who freeze in these moments. So We want to be really mindful of how this function is working so that we can be as proactive as possible to help eliminate these negative or traumatic like experiences for our campers.